What's going on YouTube? TeamSC back online here. Got another game for you guys today, but before we get into it, let's just start. Today is April 23rd. For those of you who don't know, they just released the second batch of BlizzCon tickets today. That's right, BlizzCon, the ultimate two-day festival once a year where if you love any game Blizzard, you need to be there or buy a virtual ticket. I was waiting, had multiple monitors set up with the refresh button, clicking, and I did not get in. I know, it's kind of a bummer. I tried last year, didn't get a ticket either. Man, props to you if you did get a ticket because those are real hard to get. You know, I'm probably going to have to just grow this channel so big that they invite me just for promoting the game. So I guess we can try again for next year. But anyways, we do have a 3v3 today. I am spawning as the orange Terran. My allies are Spec, as you know, who's my roommate, playing also as the yellow Terran, and we are with DJ Neil playing as the purple Zerg. We're up against today the red Zerg UED, the teal Terran, Jay, and his ally, the blue Zerg, Apple. So right off the bat, we do have two Zergs and a Terran versus two Terrans and a Zerg. So we'll see who does better. It's essentially a TVZ with a couple of throw-in Terran and Zerg units to kind of sway the tide. So right off the bat, nothing fancy. This is the back country, real big map. You do have a conjoined major base with all three of your allies. One semi-big ramp here in the front. We are choosing to wall off because we are against two Zergs. So you definitely need to wall off. Definitely smart. If you're new to the game, always wall against Zerg, or else, well, you're just going to get wrecked. But anyways, backcountry, kind of an interesting map. You do have three expansions on your south sides, which are relatively easy to secure, but you do have this small little walkway, so people can come try and attack your expansions, but there's these destructible rocks. Always a good idea to try to destroy these early in the game because it will kind of wall this off, and it does take some time to kill through the rocks yet again to actually get to these expansions. Definitely a good map for macro. Sometimes the bases can be hard to secure depending on what units the enemy goes for. But then you have two additional expansions further down to the south, and these are already cut off with destructible rocks. It is important to watch these, but as you can tell, each side kind of expands toward the side. So north side already, we do have Zergs going for their expansions. Nothing too fancy. Jay getting down to command center. No units out of the map besides overlords for anybody. Right now we're just playing the macro-oriented game. DJ Neil getting expansion, Spec getting an expansion, and me taking an expansion from my own. So right off the bat, this is my first game in a couple weeks, so I am a little bit rusty, but I am opting to go for more traditional style of mech. I do like to play a little turtley on this map and just have siege tanks and liberators to kind of help wall off. And Spec does decide to go, I think he's planning to go, he's got two factories coming up, so he is deciding to go for mech play also. I got my gases a little later, haven't gone up to factory tech yet, but did get the expansion down a little bit quicker. Going to be using some Marines to destroy these rocks. We don't want any links to go run by. Do have DJ out on the map. He did get a little scouting done, said maybe Hellions. Meanwhile, Zergling's going to be destroying their back rocks as well. And right now we just got a little bit of macro going on both sides. Defensive spine for UED, doesn't want any Hellion run-bys or Reaper harass, which is probable because they're up against two Terrans, but we're not playing typical today. So all in all, pretty good. Pretty good. Nothing happening on each side. Some Lings coming out for DJ Neil. Speed should be almost done. Finishing relatively soon. I'm actually going to make this screen a lot bigger. It's either team games, man. There's a lot of things going on. Let's have the screen nice and big so we can see what's going on. And I have the production tab there for you guys. Let me know if you like seeing it there, if you just want the screen more clean. Because there's always a lot going on in team games, and I can't like say everything's going on at the same time because it's definitely a lot of work to do. But Lings are moving out on the map for Mr. Neil. Is going to be running over to the side of the base to try to scout and see if anything's going on. Decides to go bottom ramp, and then it's like, nah, never mind. Let's go take the top side past these gold rocks. And he gives morphing in a couple banelings, so we could see a potential nice little bust going on here. But there is the rocks. They are playing smart. They did destroy those rocks. So unless they have an overlord for some drops, and I don't see any for DJ Neil, I don't think these banelings will do too much, unfortunately. Do have some Lings here moving for them. Oh, excuse me, Hellions for Jay moving in. Hellions will take forever to kill these rocks. This is 2,000 with 3 armor. Hellions do not do that much single target damage unless it's light units. And then we do have some Lings. Neil doing a good job splitting up his banelings. Does catch a couple Zerglings there, trying to come flank his Lings while his Lings work on these back rocks. So all in all, pressure going on both sides. The Hellions are going to have to return to kind of deal with this. And no, not microing his Hellions. Does that one baneling does get a hit off. One baneling here. Oh, Apple got to be careful. He almost got his Lings killed by that baneling. Anyways, do have the Hellions moving out. Lings did have to come home because if you don't know, Lings get kind of owned by Hellions. Do have a siege tank at the front. Going to be covering this ramp. These Hellions should not be doing anything, and I do have a siege tank at the rocks as well. So these Hellions are not going to be penetrating anytime soon. Mainly just used for scouting, giving them some good intel on the map. And right now, still not too much action going on. Little bit of tug of war with the Lings and Hellions from Jay and Apple, or excuse me, DJ Neil is opting to run his Lings to the back rocks to try to work on these, but there is an Overlord here from UED who should see everything. Meanwhile, we do have UED teching up to Infestation Pit, maybe going up for a quick hive. Or maybe we'll see some Swarm Host play, who knows. Double Evo Chamber going down as well. Meanwhile, we do have Jay going for traditional bio-style Terran, getting his eBay, a bunch of depots, some upgrades started up, and we do have Apple, which looks like Roach Hydra will be his army selection. Couple blue Zerglings coming here, trying to destroy the back rocks to walk by, but a couple Widow Mines going to be burrowing next to the rocks. Gonna keep these Lings in check. I think these Widow Mines actually are able to shoot just far enough if a Ling's around this area to get a nice little AoE damage shot off. Do have my third base down already, playing extremely macro-oriented. Kind of just zoning out. You got to make sure you cover your ends. So I got some siege tanks here. We're going to be watching this rocks. Got a couple tanks here from Spec watching the front side. Throwing down the center tower. This is a real good spot for the center tower on this map because it does cover two of the main entrances to your base. The only thing left to watch out for is the rocks at the back unless they go for air drops, which in that case they can attack anywhere and there's not really anything you can do to be aware. I mean, I guess we could make like 3 or 4 sensor towers, but they're kind of expensive. You don't want to make more than you need. But that one, definitely worth it. Covering 2 entrances with the sensor tower. And kind of letting you know, always good to have knowledge. That's the key, knowledge. So that you can reposition your army, especially when you're playing mech. Mech is not too mobile, so you need to know in advance to relocate your troops or move your army elsewhere. And this sensor tower is definitely going to help us do that. I think eventually we'll go for a second one. But right now, not too much action. It seems both sides are just macroing up. We are 7 minutes in the game and nothing really big has happened so far. Just people expanding the creep. Looks like Blue Zerg Apple is going to be trying to take his 4th base, as while we have UED taking his 3rd and Jay taking his 3rd. I believe we got ours up a little bit quicker. We do have 3rd base for Spec up, and mine's already saturating, trying to mine these gas, because we are going for heavy mech play. Should be throwing down some starports soon. Mutalisk coming out on the map for DJ Neil, and hopefully we can see some harassment starting up pretty soon. I didn't remember how uneventful the first portion of this game was. I usually try to pick games with like epic tug of war and back and forth and a lot of action. But I was a little focused on my macro. I wasn't even paying attention to my allies. I assumed that there was more going on. But later on... Well, wait a minute. I wonder if I'm watching the wrong game. No, I'm just kidding. We're not watching the wrong game. Do have some mutas going here to be harassing this base. There is a Spore Crawler. For those who don't know, Spore Crawlers do extra damage against biological air, which in this case means Zerg air, or aka Mutalisks. Going to be getting that extractor down, being very annoying. Microing these mutas quite well. Needs to stay away from that Spore Crawler though, and just kind of keep harassing when he can. Tank there, but some missile turrets protecting that tank. That tank will not go down unless he wants to just sacrifice all his Mutalisks. Meanwhile, we do have some more harass here, just kind of being annoying. Marines with stem coming in. These Marines do have 1/1 upgrades, and these Mutalisks are unupgraded, so it's definitely not a fight you want to take. We do have some big, massive Swarm Hosts actually moving here on this side of the map with the Roach Hydra Ball, and oh my gosh. Oh, he went for Locusts. So it is going to be going for my 2nd base, and for those who don't know, these Locusts do extreme damage per second. They hit 12 damage with a range of 3 at 0.43. That's almost faster. I think that's faster than Marines shoot. You know, granted, they don't last too long, and they should only be like halfway charged for their next round of Locusts. They do a lot of damage. Like, you only need like 4 or 5 of those to actually snipe a hatchery or a command center if you just have it go straight to attack. But anyways, he does destroy my worker line. Unfortunately, gets rid of all my gas. Sensor tower trying to go up. Didn't go up in time to see those Swarm Hosts moving in. I'm going to be positioning the Liberators here to try to keep the Swarm Hosts from ejecting so close and attacking my base again, but there are some Hydras here. But I know that I need to move forward, so I'm going to be using my mech army to break these rocks and go for my 4th base to hopefully secure my 2nd base, because this is just going to get annoying very quick. Another wave of locusts coming in, going to be taking out these tanks and turrets and just being very annoying, moving the Liberators into position to try to zone out these swarm hosts to keep them from doing this, because this is unacceptable the way things are going right now. Going to be setting up a perimeter with the Liberators, going to be getting this 4th base up, and once we get 4 base with 8 gas, then we can really start doing some solid mech. Because right now we're hurting a little bit for the gas, spending it as we go. It's real hard to get upgrades and go mech, but once you get 8 gases, it becomes a little more manageable. As you can tell, my mech is unupgraded right now. I've been sacrificing upgrades to get more quantity of units, but we should be transitioning some upgrades soon. Do have Mutalist for Neil. Going to be moving around, going to be doing a little micro, and be taking out that queen. There are a couple lurkers, ravagers, and hydras here, but not enough to get rid of these mutas just yet. Tanks are siege. Planetary Fortress is on the way. Going to be moving the Liberators up slowly and just kind of pushing into this 4th base. We do have a couple swarm hosts here, unable to get too far closer, bringing the Liberator here just to keep things zoned out. And they are going to be sending the swarm hosts to attack this base, but these Hellbats and Planetary Fortress should be able to deal with the swarm hosts quite well. Splash from the Hellbats is definitely good at dealing with this, but tanks do take some pretty serious damage. Blue Zerg army is going to be moving around, trying to find an opening, getting a little bit too close in range. There are 3 Liberators here. Does decide to poke forward, then see some more reinforcement Liberators coming in, decides not to. Meanwhile, we do have a 2nd push on the opposite side of the map. Spec is moving his siege tank and Widowmine line forward with a couple of Lings and Banelings. Should be going to secure a new base too. Lots of Widowmines here. Ooh, big drop coming in. Decides to not actually go. Smartly scans before going in, because he would have lost all of those to the Widowmine ball. So right now we do have kind of 2 mech armies just kind of moving in. A couple tanks here for Jay, but definitely more for Spec coming into play. And right now we just got a little war of attrition. Got some mutas dancing here, trying to keep this base in check, trying to secure this 4th, get it up in mind, and keeping the Liberators coming. More and more locusts coming. These Liberators are in the wrong mode. Need more of them in the anti-air mode to actually get these before they land. As you can see, the Liberators were doing some pretty good splash damage to that ball of locusts. If I had a couple more, I would have been able to kill them all before they even did any damage, but we're doing the best we can. So right now it's pretty much Muta, Tank Liberator mech, and Tank Mine mech versus interesting Zerg army. We have Infestors coming in for UED. Infestors and Swarm Hosts. It seems he does like his free units, probably going for some infested Terrans. Doom Drop does go down for Mr. J, bypassing all the Liberators and tanks, going to be going straight for my orbital command. Very unfortunate. This drop is going to do a lot of damage. Like I said, mech is immobile. I could move this whole army back, but then I would lose this base as well. And at this point, I don't think it's worth it. I pinged to my allies. DJ Neil, playing as Zerg, does have the more mobile army, so he is coming back to help, bringing in the Banelings, a couple Ultras, and the Mutalist to come deal with this. A couple real good Baneling shots going off, dwindling that Bio Ball down, but these Ultralists are going to be very good at dealing with Bio, and these walk into the tank line, and this drop is going to have to run away. Meanwhile, we did have Zerg trying to push forward a little bit, but there are enough Liberators here to keep this army in check. Liberators getting some good snipes off, getting a little bit too close, bringing some more Liberators here to the side, trying to snipe the medevacs off, but the Zerg army is moving in, going to have to switch the Liberators into the anti-siege mode. This is not a good fight for the Zerg. He does not have enough Hydras or Ravagers to deal with all these Liberators, and the Liberators are spread out quite well. Apple loses a good chunk of his army there. Meanwhile, we do have Spec here on the other side trying to push in with his Liberators and tanks. Bio is going to be moving in, but there is just too many tanks and mines here. This Bio is going to have to regroup and try something else. So when we did lose a base, this is the way they got to play it. Drops are definitely the things to do if you have people playing very turtily and moving out of the map like me and Spec have been doing. So we have Liberators on the west, tanks and mines on the east, slowly moving in. Does try to push in, gets a decent amount of tanks, but loses all of his bio in the process. And these tanks are going to be able to move in and siege this planetary fortress. Meanwhile, some Ultras here, kind of juggling, doing a little dance with UED. And we do have Apple switching into some Corruptors. But these Liberators, I do get the scan and see the Corruptors. I decided to engage them and take them out before he has a big enough ball to deal with all my Liberators. And I do manage to snipe all these Corruptors. I don't think they're upgraded. These Liberators are at 2-2 now. Liberators are just pretty good. I think the correct choice for Zerg is to actually make Vipers and try to get enough parasitic bombs out. Definitely forces the Terran to do a lot more micro, but a lot of drones going down to Liberators, even Larva getting wrecked by the Concord cannon, which does 95 damage a shot. Liberators destroy all things ground. We do have the Ultralisk and Siege line moving more closer and closer. Going to be taking some extra bases here on the side for Ooch, and do have the Hellbats moving in, taking the bases, and you know, it really shouldn't be too much more. Looking back at this replay, it looks like we're definitely in a little bit of a lead, but these Locusts are being annoying, definitely doing a little damage, kind of picking off at the side, getting as much as he can out of the free units, moving the Liberator perimeter forward, and eventually the goal is just trying to move in and kind of drown the base. But we do have a big ball of Lings and Ultralisks moving in for UED, along with the Bioforce and the Infestors and Swarmhosts. Going to be switching the Liberators in the AG mode to get rid of this army, but there is a lot, even the Bio coming in, and it looks like they're actually going to just bring everything to push this side. Meanwhile, teammates are expanding to the east and pushing in the expansions down here, but we do have a fairly decent army of Bio, Corruptor, interesting stuff pushing in, going to be taking out the planetary fortress. Not enough tanks and Liberators here, enough Corruptors, actually a lot of the Liberators going down, and they actually break the siege and they're pushing further into the base. It seems like we do have a base race situation right now. Army here on the side pushing in. Meanwhile, we do have an army here pushing in on the other side. Ultras, tanks, and mines going to be pushing in on this side, but we do have these Bio Ultras with Infestor swarms pushing on the side, getting a couple Banshees out. Not going to be able to do much with all those Marines there. Don't have Cloak just yet. Did switch into Banshees just a little bit too late, losing a lot of good Banshees, but Specs bringing his Liberators back home to kind of defend. Ultralisk is getting completely demolished before they can even go up the ramp, and we do have the Bio Army here, taking out another base, taking out the Starports, more Bio reinforcements coming in, along with the Swarmhosts and Infestors. And we do have Ultralisk moving in on the side along with the tanks, and we do have action going on everywhere. Even a hatchery for UED going down here for who knows what reason, but these two Mutalisks are dealing with it. Bio moving in, Corruptors here dealing with the Banshees. Decide I have to go ahead and attack. Cloak only half finished, trying to stall out a little bit of time, but we're losing too much. Liberators going down. Bio is moving in, being very annoying. Banshees just evaporating. Definitely a misclick on my part. Right click and moving. We do have the Infestor Swarmhost Corruptor with the little Bio Task Force moving in, and it does appear to be a little bit of a base race going on right now. Meanwhile, we do have the big Ultra Force here moving in the main base along with the tank line, moving in to deal with the expansion. We have action going on both sides of the map. Definitely a little bit of a scrappy game. Did lose 3 expansions. I think I'm completely out of the game, down for the count. I have my production, but I have no mineral intake coming in. So this pretty scary force is actually going to be moving in and just going straight through all of our bases, trying to rally all the troops back home, keeping the Liberators up top, getting a couple Hellbats to come out. I'm just going to try to hold them at this little choke to keep them from going further and further into the main. But they do have some Corruptors here, which will deal with those Liberators quite well. And there is a solid amount of Bio, Infestors, and Swarmhosts here. Definitely maximizing the Swarmhost, definitely getting a lot of use out of those free units, that's for sure. Moves us a little too close. Widow Mines do get some pretty good damage, destroying a big chunk of the Zerg army. Unfortunately, don't get the Corruptors, so the Corruptors will move on to destroy the Liberators. Widow Mines going to be Burrow Furrow. Do get the Corruptors now, but the Liberators are already gone. Bioforce here decides to back off. Don't know if he has any scans yet at this time. He does have a command center that's in the air, but he needs to land it to be able to scan, so we won't be able to deal with those Widow Mines. Meanwhile, Ultralisk at home, destroying everything. Vipers coming out for DJ Neal as well, and these tanks just hanging out, chilling. And looks like there's not too much left for Jay. They're just a big force of Bio, along with the Swarm Hosts and Infestors. Going to be pushing in slowly. A couple Hellions here need to switch to Hellbat mode to be a little more tanky. But these tanks are going to keep these Infestors and things zoned out at this moment, and it doesn't look like they can push into our base anymore. Meanwhile, the Ultralisks have triumphed on the other side of the map. Nothing really left except Overlords and 2 bases down here and a couple of floating buildings. Banshee's going to be coming in here on the side, making sure there's no mining going on for Jay. And we should see a GG here fairly soon. Ultralisks moving in to destroy the last remaining bases. And that is pretty much it. A little bit of a scrappy game that had me a little bit worried when they were pushing on the side, but I didn't realize how much work my teammates were doing on the other side. So I was a little surprised when we won this, considering all my troops got completely demolished, essentially. But anyways, that's it. Jay has left the game. His teammates will leave soon afterwards. Let me know what you guys think. Going to be trying to get some more games out here for you guys pretty soon. In addition to that, I did create a Facebook page. I'll leave the link down in the the link in the subscription below. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. Please like, please subscribe, please spread the word. Let's get Team StarCraft off the ground, the only channel dedicated to nice, fun, action-packed team games. Alright, and go like the Facebook page. Alright guys, till next time.